Jim, what changes should be made to enhance the city's image in terms of being business-friendly and more welcoming to existing and prospective businesses?
Well, on the street, I have heard people say that the best thing they could do would be to move code enforcement into the old jails, lock them in at 8 o'clock and let them out at 4 o'clock. Now, that's probably not feasible. But I think that we need to be more business-friendly by helping them. What can we do to help you instead of what roadblocks can we throw in front of you to make it harder for you to do what you're wanting to do and spend your own money doing? Could you repeat the question?
What changes should be made to enhance the city's image in terms of being business-friendly and more welcoming to existing and prospective businesses?
I think I pretty well covered that. That's about all I have to say on that.
Don?
Well, yeah, I totally agree with Jim on that. If you remember a couple of years ago, well, it's probably been 10 years ago, there was some talk about, hey, can we alleviate some of the electric the bills to some of our current businesses because they were going to have to, the fuel costs went up and things like that. And that was a big, there was a big battle around that for a while. So in order to attract these businesses, we have to make it attractive. Let's use the same word. We have to make Cushing an attractive place to come. We have to give them incentive to come here in hopes that when they do come here and their business expands or explodes, that's just going to benefit us in the long run. Is that tax breaks? Is that some kind of break on utility, like Jim was saying? Is that what it's going to be? You know, I don't know right now. But I do know this. A couple of years ago, the chamber had a motto, or their thing for the year was pushing Cushing. And I really think that right now we are living in such a great time of prosperity here that now is the time we need to start pushing Cushing. In everything that we do, we need to update our websites, and you know, people don't do things out in person anymore. It's all done on a computer screen, a telephone screen, an iPad, or something like that. In fact, the other night, I'll just tell you a story. Last night I was over at OSU in Tulsa. I had to go to the library, and I actually had to check out a book, and I actually had to ask the lady, "Can I check this out?" And she was like, "Well, of course you can check it out. You're an OSU student." And I said, "Yeah, but I do everything online." And I showed her the 8 articles that I had printed off the computer. I said, "I haven't had to read a book in forever." So, you know, I'm out of time. I don't know where I was going with that, but my point was that you know, things change. Things are changing, and so we have to change the way we promote who we are. So if that means a brand new city website with pretty bells and whistles or whatever, okay? Make it attractive, give it curb appeal so they come in, and then once they come in, show them how great this place is, and we can get them, hopefully, to stay. Sorry, I took so long.
No, I don't like that screen anyway. Yeah, I've lost track. Don, when you get my age, someday you'll be standing in the door and you'll be trying to remember, was I going out or was I
Going in?
Okay.
Good.
Mr. Amon, the
Yes.
Cushing Youth and Community Center is in decline. Is it worth a major upgrade? If so, what would your suggestions be?
That is a great question. Another question I talked to somebody about the other day. You know, what's wrong with what's wrong with curb appeal? What's wrong with a can of paint and going down and painting it and maybe make it look a little different? Just make it look different. People are fooled by what they see. They really are. They're fooled by what they see. If they think, if you live in a house that looks fantastic, they think, boy, well, everything in that house is fantastic. But you open that door, you could be a hoarder. You could be in there with rats and cats and all kinds of things. But you make something look nice, they come in the door. Well, what's great about the youth center is when you go in the door, it's pretty nice in there. But it doesn't look good from the outside. So why don't we get that painted? Why don't we paint the basketball court that's out there? Just make it more attractive, make it more better looking. Someone also mentioned when they were talking to me about the youth center, they want to do some landscaping around the youth center. We have that nice little bowl area right there that you could do. We also have the amphitheater in the park, but you have a nice little bowl there. In the summertime, you could have some type of a reading program that the library does. They could go outside. The kids could be outside. You have all these things that we could do, and we can invite the kids down to the youth center and the adults. The Lockenmeyer Art Center's there. Rob Smith does a great job with that. But you just have to get people there, and people will be, they're attracted to bright colors and shiny things. They really are. I am. That's why I can't stop looking at you. So that's what I would say.
Very good answer. Would you repeat the question?
I certainly will. The Cushing and Youth Community Center is in decline. Is it worth a major upgrade? If so, what are your suggestions, Mr. Holgrove?
Okay, I heard one question in there, is it worth? And the answer is definitely yes.
Okay.
In the oil field, we call that a rattle can overhaul. You take this can, you shake it up, and it rattles, and you spray paint on it, and that's an overhaul, and you'll be surprised how much that'll help sell a pumping unit or something of that sort. Donna's right on track with, we definitely need to go in and do some facelifts and stuff. I think all the commission would agree on that. You have to stop and remember that we just finished building a Taj Mahal, as certain people call it, and that's pretty well taken up the time for most of our people. Code enforcement's been intimately involved in there. The city manager and engineer has spent the majority of his time over there. Taj Mahal or not, we have one of the finest facilities in the state of Oklahoma. And I'm proud to see it. Yeah, we probably spent too much money. The posts that keep you from hitting the door when you back in are called bollards. I learned a new word at the meeting one night. Those bollards, which are nothing but 8-inch pipe with a cap on them, cost $800 a piece on bid sheet. And I threw a fit. I said, I'll furnish the pipe, I'll donate the pipe, just take that off there. It couldn't be done. The bid is a bid for the total project, and so you have the total project there. I'm about out of time. Have I answered your question?
Next question, however, Mr. Holgrove.
Mm-hmm.
Cushing Sports Complex was built with the promise of a walking track and covered bleachers. Why has this not happened, and how can we make it happen?
Well, I think it's in progress now. If you'll look here, the bleacher covers on this paper that was handed out courtesy of Mr. Brandon, who doesn't want credit for it, and I appreciate that. I'm a little bit that way myself. The intent is to have this project completed before the season starts. That may or may not happen, but there is money budgeted for that, as it says on this sheet. My opinion is the same as what you just said. Yes, we need to continue upgrading, but stop and think what it was like 20 years ago. We didn't have any of that. So I think we've come a long ways, and yes, we still have a ways to go. When they get the new middle school built out there, the two will complement each other, and I'm certain that the city will continue making improvements and additions to that as we go along. I know about 3 or 4 years ago, we had complaints from the neighbors about the dust of that road coming in there. I believe that's all been asphalted now, so we no longer have that problem. Those things take time and cost money, and the city commission, and I've been confused on this. Am I a city commissioner or am I a city councilor? I don't know. I'm not a counselor like an attorney, but anyways, I guess we are city commission. We'll definitely continue to work on that project and coordinate it with the school system. Time's up.
Mr. Amon?
Ooh, boy, did you bring up a hot topic at the Amon house. Oh, Mrs. Amon was sold on the complex based solely on the walking track. And the walking track never came about. We live 2 doors from the sports complex. It is a beautiful sports complex. Mike and Jared and Ryan and those guys go down there and take care of the fields. Boy, they do a fabulous job. And that's a great place. As when I coached softball in high school, we used to have our first of the year tournament there. We'd run 27 teams through here for 4 days. We'd have 27 different schools here. We'd play on all 4 fields. We'd play from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. It's a great source of pride for Cushing, and you can get a lot of people to come in here if we utilize it. One of the problems is that there was no a bleacher or a head, so that if a ball comes off at one field, you can get knocked in the head and not even know it was coming. Again, this goes to planning. Why didn't somebody think of that? Why wasn't somebody saying, hey, we're going to build this, but you know what? It's possible a ball could come off that field and hit somebody watching the game over here. And that's one of the things that I'm talking about. I'm not knocking our city and what our city does. Jim's done a great job. The commission's done a great job. The city's doing great things. But I'm not sure we're looking ahead. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to say, is that we need to start looking ahead. And that's one of those issues where we could have looked ahead. But as Jim said, it's budgeted. It is going to happen. And the walking track, I said to someone the other day, do we not have a sod cutter? Can somebody not just take a sod cutter down there and make a nice little walking trail and then put some mulch or something on there? Just something for to give another place for people to walk, because you can't use the track anymore. The track's all tore up, right? You can walk around the park if you want, but there's really no trail at the park. You'd have to walk on the roads. But why not go out there and watch those kids play? Boy, there's nothing better than baseball and softball in the summer and the fall. And it'd be a great place for people to walk. And so I'm all for getting a walking track there. Have been since my wife yells at me because I've told her to vote that way. I told her to vote for it.
Don, you mentioned Memorial Park. It formerly was the city's shining star, but it's kind of lapsed into decay. What should the city's long-range or short-range plans be regarding Memorial Park?
Well, again, I think the park is one of those things where it just needs a little bit of a facelift. Someone mentioned to me the other day that the lady at the pond only has one arm. So I drove down and took a look at her, and God bless her, she only has one arm. She only has one arm. Okay? Now, why that can't get fixed, I don't know. Is that a city problem? Yeah, it's a city park. But I think, we just again, some general landscaping, make it look good. The pool is a wonderful, shining, sparkling spot of our park. My son has worked at the pool for the last 3 or 4 years as a lifeguard, and he's there from 10 o'clock in the morning till almost 10 o'clock at night, and they're full most of the summer, providing it doesn't rain. Last summer we had a little bit of rain. But I think, and then with the golf, with the Frisbee golf, there's a lot of people out there parking, doing the Frisbee golf. Cushing Public Schools hired a guy to be the assistant baseball coach. There's also a field management guy, so he's making our baseball field look very, very pretty. I don't know if you've been out to buy the baseball field, but it's getting to look very, very pretty. And so if we could just do those things, again, keep the grass manicured, make it look good, make sure that there's playground equipment. You take a look at Rotary Park and what the Rotarians did over there at Rotary Park. Rotary Park's a lot better looking now than it was. And all it is brand new equipment that's bright and shiny. And they added some different sand pits and things like that. And that's really all you need to do. You don't need to do anything major. And again, we have that amphitheater, and I'm running out of time, but we have that amphitheater, and I think that's something that we might need to utilize. Remember, many years ago, Doug Carson would bring in the Tulsa Symphony, and people would go down there and sit and would listen to the symphony. And of course, we have Festival in the Park there. So, I mean, we can utilize that as a community a lot more than we are. And to do that, I think we just need to just clean it up a little bit, just make it look nicer. Sorry, I took so much.
Okay, on the city park, we are building some shelters with picnic tables under them. That's been discussed. In defense of the guys that work at the park department, we've had them out at the city lake doing most of that cleanup out there, and so they've been kind of pulled off of their regular duties there. But I think the city park is a fabulous facility, and I'm sure by the time school's out that it'll be up in top shape again. Was there any more to that question?
No, sir.
Okay. One more thing on parks, since I do have a little bit of time left, and I don't want this park named after me, but we have Kemp Park, we have the city park downtown. Where are the others? Somebody help me out here.
Rotary Park.
There's 8
Lions
parks.
Park.
There's 8.
There's 8 parks?
There's 8
Okay.
parks.
I want to see a little park for the kids, a block north of the old Pizza Hut. The city owns that property. I don't like to say but I kind of twisted some arms to get them to go bid on it and buy that corner when it come up for sale at the tax auction. And I want to see some swing sets. That's an area of town that is not being served. And there's kids that live up there too. It wouldn't cost a whole lot. I've offered to donate the pipe to put up a rail around it so the hot rodders couldn't go in there and tear up the grass if they get it built.